Hi, class. This short video lecture will cover survey design and really focus on best practices that I have learned in my marketing firm. We do quite a bit of market research for companies like Amtrak, hospitals, restaurants, hotels, and businesses like that, consumer-facing businesses. And these are best practices I have learned along the way. So I want to go over these in person in lieu of having a live lecture. And then I'm going to go over Google Forms because the assignment this week for the teams or individual projects are to build a survey. So let's go over the best practices. Number one, I always encourage anyone who's going to administer a survey to not misrepresent it or represent it accurately, especially in terms of time. If the survey takes 3 minutes, do not tell the respondents it's going to take 1 minute. That sounds obvious, but in the desire to get more responses, sometimes researchers misrepresent that time element. And what you're going to find if you did that, you would find consumers or respondents leaving early, the survey early, or they'll just click the middle on neutral on everything and get out of it. So we want to make sure we do that. And we want to respect the process and represent it properly. The next point is we use what's called the upside down pyramid. And this is a key point to this. We have, here's a picture of the pyramid here. So in constructing the questions and putting them in order, we want to make sure to start with a big question. So I'm going to go very simple here, a very simple concept we all understand. And sometimes I beat this into the ground, but we're going to be looking at the coffee industry. So let's say you want to open up a coffee shop and you need to conduct your research. The big question could be, do you like coffee? Or express how much you like coffee on a 1 to 6 continuum. 1 not being very much, 6 being very much. That could be the big question. It's oversimplified, but the big question sets the tone for the survey, and it also lets the audience know what the survey is about. So you start with the big question, very basic, high-level question. Then the next question is also important, but a little bit narrower. It could be something like, what are your favorite styles of coffee? So you've asked them, how much they like coffee, then what's their favorite style of coffee? Cappuccino, espresso. This could be a multiple choice question. Cappuccino, espresso, latte, Americano. You can list a bunch of them there. So that's a little bit narrower question, but still a legitimately broad question. Then the next question, getting a little more narrow, is how often do you drink coffee? Say twice a day, or 3 times a day, once a day, once every 2 days, once a week. And then the next question could be something like getting more narrow, but still, still not too narrow, would be, how much would you expect to pay for for your favorite coffee beverage? And so you list the different prices there. And then in the very bottom, this is the key point here. When we get to the bottom of the survey, we really want to focus on demographic questions that we really wouldn't want to ask in the beginning. One is, could you please share your income? And you give them choices for that income. It might be, can you share your age? What is your age? And you give them multiple choice for that. And so those go on the bottom. The reason for that, because if you put how much is your income on the top, you're going to get a lot of people refusing to take the survey because it's too intrusive. But once they've invested in their time in this, they realize it's not a threatening survey. They will answer personal questions like that. And so again, how much do you like coffee? What are your favorite types of coffee? How often do you drink coffee? How much would you pay for coffee? And then your age and income. That would be a very short version of a ordered question survey. So the other thing we want to talk about, so that's the upside down pyramid in action. Be as brief as possible. And if you have 20 questions, try to make it 15. If you have 15, try to make it 10. The reason I say this is because this is something that researchers get in trouble with all the time. Once they have someone in front of them, they try to extract as much data as they can. And what they don't appreciate or understand is that consumers have limited attention spans, and they really don't want to spend that much time with you. So we want to make the err on the side of being as brief as we can. Usually if we cut questions away from a long survey, it doesn't really affect the quality of the survey that much. Questions should be, next point, questions should be closed-ended. Give them data points to select from. Don't allow them to write answers in. Now, if you're sending a survey out to 5 people because you're inviting them to a dinner party and you want to find out what their favorite food is, they can write anything they want, as much as they want. The problem is when you send a survey out to 500 people, the survey software we're going to be looking at in Google Forms doesn't know how to code or classify a bunch of random words. So it tries to alphabetize them. So that can be very frustrating to researchers because they have to physically unpack all that. So we recommend the best practice is closed-ended questions. Indicate that it's confidential. So whoever is sponsoring the research that you're conducting should own it. And you as the researcher don't have the right to share that with others unless you get permission. So just keep in mind, we want to respect confidentiality of content, especially to those who are sponsoring the research or paying for it. And just remember that sometimes surveys are valuable to consumers if it's on something that they're passionate about. So you want to try to explain the value of the research. However, in most cases, especially a business type research where you're going to open up a store like this coffee shop we're talking about, most people don't have a vested interest and don't see that as highly valuable to them. So what you need to do is ideally you offer some kind of incentive. So if you have an 8 or 10 question short survey and you want someone to complete it, sometimes you have to have like $3 Starbucks card or something to that effect. That will, the consumer makes a value equation in their mind. They're saying, okay, I'm going to spend 1 minute for $3. Okay, I'll do it. So they'll take the survey then. Typically, you really should offer incentives. That's why research can be somewhat expensive, because you have to sponsor it basically. But that's why researchers make a lot of money too. Researchers can make money because it's hard work. And now so those are the best practices that I have professionally discovered and through years of doing this. And now I want to go to the survey platform that we're going to use. It's called Google Forms. And we're going to go to Google Forms. And you have to be signed into Google to get here. When you want to start, because this is an assignment for your team or individual, however you're doing the project, when you click this, it starts a new survey. So I've already started one that I use for demonstration purposes. It's super simple. I'm going to go here. So just remember, it's called Google Forms. Everybody has access to it. It's free. A blank form will come up. I've messed around with this thing and added to it. It's always going to ask you for a title, and there you have an opportunity to put in some kind of a disclaimer or instructions. Please complete this 1-minute confidential survey. Thank you, or something like that. Then if you want to put a picture in, usually it's good to personalize the approach, make it more visual. You go over here to this little vertical menu and you put add image, and then you have an image you've already downloaded from Google or something, then you can drop it in there. Then you can actually, once you're in there, you can center it and, that sort of thing. So over here, you would click this and you could center it. So first of all, you have to click this, then it gives you this over here. So you can center it, and it just gives it a visualization, which is really nice. Now I'm just going to go over some question models here. I don't want you to pick all multiple choice. It gets boring for the respondent. It's good to choose the different areas that once you're in edit mode, like I am here, I just put, like I said before, how much do you like coffee? And I did 1 through 6 here. You can change that to 5 if you want, but I make 6 because what I like to do, I'm going to click out of this to show you. I like to give the respondent a choice between clicking not very much and very much. This makes them decide. Otherwise, they can, if you have an even number, they could just click the middle every time, and it just doesn't. It's a way to cop out of an answer. So this is called the linear scale. Over here, you're going to get all kinds of choices what to do. The linear scale I like because you put not much, very much. It gives us it allows them to express themselves, on a continuum, which I like. Now the next question is the next question we're going to look at is, I'll look at the finished version here. This is called, and by the way, when you want to add a question, you push this plus sign. Okay, that's how you add a question. If you want to go, I'm in edit mode now. If you want to add another option, let's say you're here, you just finished it, you push enter on your computer, and it gives you another option. Then you type it in here. Okay, and so that's how you do that. The cool thing, so let's say, what are your favorite flavors of coffee? Flavors. And you can click more than one, right? You click checkbox, and the checkbox allows you to click more than one, which is what we want here, because we asked for multiple, perhaps a multiple answer. Checkboxes is the multiple answer, because it gives you a square here. Okay, so we've gone from linear scale to checkboxes, and of course we don't want to forget about multiple choice, because that's the most common version. I just don't like it beat into the ground. The next question is, how much would you pay for coffee? And we gave them a list here. And so they can click. With multiple choice, you have a round option. With checkbox, multiple answers, you have square. That's how you know the difference. And so we're going to give them a selection there. And then we use the fourth type of question format. And this is, we call a drop down. A drop down box is essentially a multiple choice question, but it allows them it cleans up the survey, makes it, I'll show you in a second here. Okay. So now those are the basic questions. You notice we put demographics in the bottom and the big question on top. How much you like coffee? What's your age? So those are the demographics. When we go to the eyeball, okay, up here, the eyeball does a couple of things. We're going to click on it now. The eyeball gives us, and if you want to go back there, you have to click this pencil here. But the eyeball itself does two things. Number one, it gives you a usable, when you copy and paste this, when you copy this, you can paste it anywhere. You can send it to friends. They're going to have access to the survey to take it. Okay, so it does that, but it also puts it in a mode where you can actually take the survey. So we go, how much do you like coffee? Let's say I like it a fair amount. I kind of like it. What are your favorite flavors of coffee? I'm going to put Conan French roast. I don't know why, it doesn't really matter to me, but I'm just clicking those for now. How much would you pay for, you might say your favorite coffee or something like that. Let's say $5. I'm used to paying that at Starbucks. And then what's your age? You notice I mentioned, this is another multiple choice, but you notice I mentioned it's called a drop-down box, and you can click the band there. And a couple of other little things, when I go back to this pencil to edit, another thing we're going to be looking at is, you might want to change the color of the background, which you can do. You can change the color. You do that in, let's see, where's my edit mode? Customize theme. You can change the background color if you want to. I use kind of a warm kind of coffee color here. You can make it blue or green or whatever. And again, this is a magic thing here. You click this, it's going to give you the finished, this isn't it, but it's going to give you the finished survey, and you can send to anybody. And then here's what the software does. Here's the beauty of it. I know SurveyMonkey does the same thing, but the thing about Google Forms, it's free all the time. That's why it's important. That's why I like to use it, because there's no subscription or anything like that. The responses, I clicked in some responses myself. This was the linear scale. And based on this unscientific survey, most people seem to like coffee. We're on the right-hand side of the halfway point here. This was the linear scale, as you remember. This was the multiple choice one, and most people like Kona coffee. It just shows you the example here. And then this was, I'm sorry, check that. This was not multiple choice. This was the check box where you can click as many as you want. This was multiple choice. This is also multiple choice, but it's in the form of a drop-down box, which kind of cleans up the survey. Now, if you change colors here, let's say we want to change to green. What it does is it changes the background, also gives you a complementary color here. And let's say we want to change to red. I don't think you'd want to do that, but it's a little kind of an alarming color, but does to red. So here's the color we used here, a little more friendly for coffee. So that's it. The assignment is the team assignment or individual project assignment is to create a survey. And whether it's a team or individual, you need to create a survey. And that's what we're going to be looking for. And use the best practices that we've discussed. And you should be fine with that. Any questions? Put them in the question or concern forum. And I look forward to seeing you in the classroom.